Okay, a little one about customer service. Right, are you looking after your customers in a way that sets you apart from other cake makers local to you? Are you making sure that they come back, and are you going over and above what they expect? It's not actually that hard to do this, right? I'm going to give you a little example of something that came up for me I say recently. It was late lockdown. It was a socially distanced gathering. Um, but a relatively new friend of mine, she'd recently ordered a cake from me, and she was at this gathering and being very lovely about my cake, gushing about how good it was. And something that she mentioned that surprised me was that she thought I'd done her like a massive favour during the ordering process because I knew her, right? She'd had cakes from other cake makers, and I did this one thing that made her feel a bit more looked after than they had, right? And it was so simple, it shocked me that this has not been done. So please do this, right? So the inspiration image that she'd sent to me, it was the two-tier Hulk cake with the fist coming out of the top. We've all done one, haven't we? So the first question I asked, especially because this was a 2020 cake, this is my second question that I ask when sorting out details of an order. I first ask the date, and then I ask how many people that they need to serve. How many do you need to feed? Right. So the initial picture, if I'd done it to the same size, it were an 8-inch and a 6-inch. It had a serve 40 plus whatever the fists were made out of. If that was Rice Krispie treats or truffle cake, that had have got even more portions out. She only actually needed the top tier for her servings numbers. So I had to promise her it would still be just as impressive as a smaller cake. Because people do have in their heads that it's going to be big to be impressive, but I had an airbrush. You know, the one in the photo was just a very plain green cake, and I had my airbrush to pick out all my bricks and everything. So once I'd convinced her it was going to be that impressive, she ordered the smaller cake. So here we are a few months later, and she's so grateful to me still that I've gone over and above, because she's ordered cakes before a lot, and most of the time she just gets a quote for that size cake in the picture. You know, it's obviously led to her throwing away half a cake, which equals half the money that she spent on the cake. So that last emotion that she would have felt about those cakes is that, you know, what a waste. It'd have been a negative. She spent all this money, it's had an amazing wow factor, but oh God, what a waste. You know, money, cake going in the bin, right? So fast forward to a couple of months down the line, if she's had that negative experience, she's not going to come back to me. She might not even remember. She'll just have a niggling feeling that there was something negative about that cake. So she's going to go somewhere else. There's plenty of cake makers. We're very easy to find, you know. So I didn't do her that special favour because I knew her, right? This is my standard customer service. The very first way that I'm making sure that I'm looking after this person that's in my inbox. Some clients think you need a bigger cake to be impressive. But if you're doing a good job on the size cake that they need, they're still going to love it, and they're not going to be left with this negativity of wasting cake and wasting money. They're going to, if that whole experience with you is positive, they're going to come back to you for the next cake. So you've got to think, if you're trying to sell them the big cake to serve 40, there's a good chance that they might be asking somebody else. There might be another cake maker in their inbox. Asking them that question that I've asked, how many do you need to serve? Just looking after them that bit better. So if you think of the phrase, the bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, right? While you're chasing your 2-tier cake, you're thinking about that's going to look good on my feed, you're thinking about the actual payday of getting paid for that cake. You might actually be losing them as a return customer. So you might even be losing them at the moment of quoting because somebody else in their inbox is looking after them a bit more. If they really want a 2-tier cake, they're still going to continue. They're still going to say, no, I'll have the 2-tier. I'll dish it out to neighbours. I don't mind a bit going in bin. You know, maybe the look of the cake's more important to them than you know, keeping the costs down. That's absolutely fine. So if they're not bothered about the price, they're not bothered about the waste, they're still going to have that 2-tier cake. So you're not going to lose the order, but from the start, they're still going to appreciate that little bit of extra service that you're giving them by making sure you're showing them that you care, right? So it does need to be positive at every moment of contact, and then they're going to praise you and they're going to recommend you at every opportunity. Word of mouth is always the best advertising. I know that Laura's recommended me to other people for cakes. You know, the subject comes up, it's my name she mentions, and I'm really grateful for that, but it's simply because she appreciated so much I didn't just sell her the big cake and get the big payday off of it, knowing damn well that she didn't need a cake that size. So have a think about it. The hard sell isn't the way. We are delivering a very special service, but it's not just a one-time opportunity, especially during the first couple of orders that you get from somebody. You're laying the foundations for them to become a regular customer, possibly for years, until the kids grow up, until the kids get married. You might do the kids' wedding cake, you know, if we stick it out that long. But it's not only in becoming a repeat customer, they're going to be a word of mouth advertiser as well. They're going to recommend you. Also, it's really easy to sell, you know, your seasonal products like your boxes of cupcakes at Christmas to those customers that you've already got. Because they already know you, they already like you, they already trust you. It's easier to sell more to those customers than to chase an entirely brand new customer who doesn't know you yet and who's just seeing your name among a sea of other cake maker names. So look after those whose attention you've already got. Stand out. Your service is 50% of your cake experience, right? The cake could be the best they've ever seen and best they've ever tasted, but if they don't feel completely looked after by you, they might not come back.